Yep. Do you want to crank it over? Okay. Turns over. Try it again. Got numerous clear hose, so I can see if it is pulling fuel, and that's if the mechanical pump is working, which right down there in this motor. Got my first fuel filter up here, another one back here behind the intake. So as you can see, this injector is already off. I'm going to leave it off the way it is right now. I want to see if I got fuel coming up, and then I want to see if I got fuel going to the pump, and I'm going to pull this line off here, see if I got fuel returning. So, but first things first, got this camera here. I'll get it set up a little bit better, because when I found this truck in the woods there, it was this cap was sitting down in here. I did notice a little bit of the hood insulation sitting in the filler, the oil filler. So probably have to get the shop vac, get that out of there, maybe see if there's any critters living down in the motor. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to drop too much in here till I get that insulation out. But I'll get the GoPro mount set up in just a second here, and we'll start looking down in the intake. Okay, see valve. Or is it a bolt? What is that? Could be a bolt. I'm not sure what it is actually. I just want to make sure there's not a bunch of garbage or animal or something living in here before I start turning this motor over. No. Sludge. Perfect. Alright. Enough farting around here. So, looks like the pump in here should be all good. Moving on. Okay, let's replace this one here. This is something you should do in any IDI rig anyways, don't matter what kind. Of course, I definitely made sure to get a random selection of hose that will deteriorate pretty quickly, but I just wanted to get something on here. Start. So we'll stick that on there. No clamp. Okay, put clamps on that later after spill diesel fuel everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bypass this filter. Okay, we got one main feed line directly underneath the intake, center of the pump, and I did check, the pump is in time as far as the notches on the pump and the front of the motor. Let's see if we got fuel here first. Just want to get an idea what kind of fuel is in here and see if there's any contaminants, all that. So far, that looks like the pretty nice stuff you get down at the store. Clean too. I need to see if it's pulling fuel. And if it is pulling fuel, I need to see if it's pressurizing fuel. Figured it might be around 7/8 or so for the crank bolt. Got some stuff here. These batteries here, they're smoked. They're, you know, all the way down. No power out of them, but I'm gonna treat it like I would any truck I'd work on. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull all the terminals off, get these batteries out of here, put them on the charger, see if they'll come back. I've had good luck with some of the super starts coming back. These Walmart never starts. That thing could be brand new and it'd be junk. So we'll try it, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on that one. That's for sure. I do have to figure out if this is a 12 or 24 volt system. I know a lot of the 6.2s had the 24 volt. I don't know if that's just the CUCVs or whatever it is, but we'll take a look at it. So what we get this rig up and running here, I'll put a nice set of batteries, good strong 1000 cold cranking amp ones, a good set of heavy cables and good things on there. I like this truck. I know, it's a Chevy. We all give each other some stuff, but at least it's not electric. Just use the High Boys hood. Workbench. Last time I bought a Chevy was 20 years ago. Let's see if I can get this out without messing something up. That's good, just sitting in there. I like that. Okay. There's one. I should have some good batteries laying around here. Let's check the oil while we're in here. It's pretty good. It's hard to tell with these because they put off so much soot. That oil could have 100 miles on it. When I looked at the truck when it was sitting in the woods, I put the gearbox in neutral and I tried ripping on the belts and I could not get it to turn the crank. These things should be somewhere in the low 20s to 1 compression. So we'll see what it does down there. Odometer showing 90,000. As far as the documents I found with the truck, which I will show you here shortly, looks like it could be a original 90,000 mile truck. For the documents, the pedals, all that, so it could just be a little tight. We'll see. I don't know what size it is, but I'll find out and tell you. So far I've got 7/8 and a 22 mil. Because it did say 10.9 on that bolt head. It's not a 22 mil, that's for sure. Let's see if it's 7/8. Oh, at least got to stretch it back here this morning. Okay, 15/16. It's a pretty common one, but coffee ain't kicked in yet. Yep, she moved. Pretty easy. I'm gonna do 2 whole rotations of the crank. I'm gonna have to get that camera down here. This frame is pretty clean. There's still a good amount of original paint on it, but you gotta take a look at this oil filter. Good enough. And I didn't hear anything banging or clanking or binding up. You could feel all the compression, but that was about it. I'm not hitting this with starting fluid. I hope nobody else has either. So I don't want it to run right now. I want to see if this injection pump is any good before I end up pulling off the intake, all the lines. I may as well do valve cover gaskets, intake gaskets, water pump. May as well just tear it all apart if you're going to do that. So, which I knew when I got into it, it was sold as needs a pump. So I want to see if it really does need a pump or if there's something else going on, like massive air intrusion in the fuel system, or maybe this pump here is not building high pressure, or maybe it's not even getting fuel to it. So we'll see. Let's see what's going on with it. All right, before I end this video here, for right now, take a look at the filters. Look good up top. Somebody even did the one behind the intake. Fuel looks good in the other one. But when I was down here, I did see this one. Pretty clean under here. Is this really 40 years old? Yep. Boy, the oil filter is the worst looking thing on this whole rig. I should probably grab a filter and at least spin one on, because what is it, a Purolator? I can't tell. So, oh well. Okay, charge the batteries, figure out what ones I have around here that got juice in them, and spin a filter on that. I may as well just dump the oil, because shoot, this thing's not that big. This is like a little tractor motor. Probably takes 2 gallons. If you know how much it takes, comment it down below. But I've got Oodles or Rotella T4. That's all I use. 1540. Using on 7.3s, using on the FE motors, just about everything. Good old stuff, pretty cheap. It smells good. So I'm gonna go to O'Reilly's. I gotta get a one-way valve for my fuel inlet, fuel pickup coming off of here. And these filters look newer. One's up top. That fuel looked good there when I did spun the drain. So I'm not going to touch those just yet, but I will throw a Wix on the motor, get rid of whatever that rusty one is on there, and hopefully by then I'll have some juice. All right, we're going to go ahead, drop the oil in this truck, change out that rusty filter. Normally I wouldn't do this. I would try to run it the way it is, but I really am starting to like this truck, even though it's a Chevrolet. And that filter is pretty nasty. So I've got here in front of me a new Wix 51061 and 9/16 wrench and a filter wrench. So let's go ahead, grab these two for now, get underneath it, and see what this oil looks like. Hopefully it's not too bad. Dipstick was showing it was low. Like I said before, I've got plenty of T4, so I'll probably check and see how much this thing takes, but I figure probably about 2 gallons. It's not that big of a motor. It's not like a 7.3 that takes, 16 quarts, so. All right. Does not look too bad. Yeah, definitely not a ton of oil in there. It didn't come flowing out like crazy, so looks normal. Normal diesel oil. Dark, lots of soot. Who knows how many miles are on it. But I'm not too worried about the miles. I'm just worried about any moisture, any contaminants. Plus since the oil filler cap was off when I looked at it, and I don't know if it's been that way for
5 years, 10 years, 18 years is what I was told, but by looking at it, I don't think that that's true. We'll see. I'm gonna wait to pull the filter off. It's kind of crunchy looking. It's gonna get a bunch of rust and dirt, paint chips and whatnot down in here. I already cleaned out the top of this oil container so I could see if there were any contaminants or anything. This is usually right around the time I like to look for them, is when it's got the last little bit coming in here. I like to get it up at the high end so I can see if there's any fine sediments or pieces of metallic, anything like that in there. So okay, great, knock the camera over. That's done. Oil's drained, plug's tight, it's clean. Take a look at this oil real quick and then I'll move on to the filter. If it's bad, I'll bring the camera out. All right, I'm back. Got the regular band clamp style filter wrench. Let's see if I get this off of here. Perfect. Whoever put it on knew what they were doing. Yeah, it looks a little old. And that is exactly why I went ahead and did this oil change now, before I even put any batteries in it. Okay. Got your regular Rotella T4 1540, and I believe it is 7 quarts. So I'm going to put 6 in, and then I might put a quart of mystery oil in. What is this thing next to it here? If anybody knows, comment it down below. Is that a oil catch can or what is that? It's coming right off the filler tube. The first gallon filled the filter down there, the rest went in the motor. So I got 4 quarts in right now. It's supposed to take 7. I pulled a quart out of this gallon here, and I'm going to add 1 full quart mystery oil. Now I know there's some diesel in the one tank. I'm going to put some of this in there. I've used this on the tow pig before that sat for 7-8 years, and I ran the fuel right through it. So it smells a little bit when you run old fuel, but if that tank's got 20 gallons in there, you know I'm gonna run it. Chances are this truck's gonna be ran on quite a bit of used motor oil. Maybe cut with a little bit of sticky old gasoline from some of these old trucks and sitting for a long time. It says removes water and slime to prevent fuel filter failures. I'll just dump the rest in there. Okay, I got some batteries here. I'm going to put them in the truck. I think they're just group 65. Yeah, just some regular group 65. Should be putting 1,000 cold cranking amps in, but I go through batteries pretty quick, and I want to make sure that this runs first. So, but there was a member of a 6265 Detroit Diesel Facebook group, and he reached out to a post about this truck, and he had mentioned to make sure that the starter has a bracket on. I guess these motors are known to break the ear off the engine block, especially if they're sitting for a while, or if they have the OEM style starter, which this one does. I guess it's stronger. So pretty much I'm going to have a bolt somewhere right around here, just connecting to the end of the starter, and then I'm going to have a bolt over here going through the starter heat shield into the engine block. Roughly this angle, about 120 degrees. I'll check again once I make it. So I've got this old scrap battery tie down. I'm going to pull that apart. It's already got one hole for one of these, and I'll slit it in the middle, and then I'll end up drilling a hole on the opposite side from where this one's at. And I'll take a little video when that's done and installed. Once that's on, I'll be able to put the batteries in. I already know that the engine turns over by hand with a ratchet, and there's no binding. It's got good oil in it now, and I'm going to see if it's got glow plugs and start hooking fuel up. All right, so I took a real rough measurement here and just a regular dry erase marker, which is, once I have the right angle, a little over 3.5 center to center. So I'll take a better measurement once it's done, but it's just going to be something like this. It's not going to be real pretty. It's going to have a bolt going in to the starter, come up, and I'm going to bend this tab down a little bit to contour the block so that bolt that's in the heat shield will fit good. I set it under there. I was able to get to the heat shield. I marked right here 3.5 with my dry erase marker, paint marker, and when I set it up into position, I could see this dot was right on the stud of the starter, but it needs to be on this side. That's the stud coming through. So I'm gonna drill a hole through here and set it on there, see how it goes. Then we get cranking. All right, paint should be dry here. That's what your bracket's gonna look like. If you can't find one, just make something up. The angle turned out to be closer to 145, 150. I'm gonna pop this on. 150, I don't know if you can see that. Yep. There it is. Starter stud, block bolt going through the heat shield. Okay, here we are underneath the truck. You got your starter solenoid, heat shield right here, engine block, and this is the bracket. Right here is right for the bend. It's coming down. It's bolted to the stud coming out of the starter. I guess on these older 6.2s, people are saying that they're breaking off the ear on the block or the transmission bell housing, one of the two, but I didn't want to risk that, and I figured it'd just take a few minutes, make up a piece out of some scrap, and be good to go. All right, we're gonna put some batteries in this now, and Caitlin's gonna come out and help and see if we can get it cranking, start hooking up fuel, and go from there. Great, that's a little tight. I'm sure these are not the right batteries to sit in here, but this is what it's getting today. Cables are a little cross, aren't they? Okay. Yep. I'm gonna have to rewire this and set this up when it runs. Okay. You got the keys, right?
Mm-hmm. They're in my pocket.
All right. Let's see what kind of lights we get.
Is it this one?
Should be that one, yeah.
Maybe pop it out of gear. Make sure it's in neutral. That should be it, yeah.
Do I have to put the clutch in?
No. Right key?
The square one, right?
I don't know.
Sitting here.
Chevrolet.
Ew.
Try the other one.
No, it's definitely the square one.
I'm gonna run through the lights. See if we got any lights. Should be those, right? Got headlights. Do you want to crank it over? Turns over. Try it again. Alright, that's good. I don't want to pump too much fuel up in there if it's doing anything. And I want to make sure I have something to cover that intake. Not that it would run, but just in case. Try that again. Is there a light coming on for the glow plugs?
I don't see anything. The only light that really comes on the dash is the fasten seatbelt sign.
It should be up here.
Yeah, it don't come on.
Oh, there's a pigtail hanging out. That takes a bulb. I'm wondering if the bulb was bad.
Well, I mean, it's been taken out recently, the whole dash, you can tell.
Yeah.
Because they broke that. See, I told you the dash was brown.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? How come nobody offers a brown dash pad for one of these?
How rude. I can't get it to rock back to lock.
Should pull this off, see what the steering wheel looks like. Here, hold that real quick.
It's mint.
A little sticky.
Gross. Ew, it's gross.
This is the fuel pump I'm going to go with. I'm going to pull off of the first fuel filter on the firewall and connect it in line from a jug. This way I can bypass the tanks, the fuel tank selector switch, the fuel tank selector valve underneath the truck. There you go. You can get this anywhere, especially if you have a good O'Reilly's. Alright, so fuel pump might be cranking, might be pumping, vacuum, just from those couple cranks. So I did drain a little bit out of here, half of a bottle of water. So we'll see how much is left in here, because I'm going to take the pump, plug it right in here, pressurize it, and see what's going on. Let's see if I can do this again without making a giant mess. There it goes. Oh. Okay. Well, it wasn't a ton, but it was enough.
What's that thing do?
Should be a blade off the air. Alright, I'm covering diesel. Yeah, oh, here it is.
This is gonna leak. It's all right. 4 to 7 psi. It'll be fine. Just tighten it real good. Okay. And obviously I'm doing this just to see if there's any fuel leaks underneath that intake. I got the pink wire disconnected here to the pump. And I've got an injector off back there. So I want to see if I'm going to get pressurized fuel coming out of there when I've got the motor cranking. So let me stick this up in here. Trusty new fuel tank. Go right to the top. Don't flip, don't fall over. Alright, power's on. Should turn on. Yep. See anything leaking?
I don't hear anything.
I bought that new flashlight. Still don't have it. Changing pitch, picking up fuel now. Pretty windy. Should be coming down here to the fuel pump maybe. Back up to there, and from there to the pump. I don't see anything coming through here yet. I don't see any leaks yet. Could just be pressurizing the whole system. But I'm gonna hook this up a little bit better, because I don't see anything coming out of any of the lines. I don't see any chew through lines. Doesn't look like it's leaking at the mechanical pump. So I'll get this rigged up a little bit. That's probably good there. And crank on it, and then I'll look right here, right where this ejector's off. I'll look and see if it's creating pressure. Don't put your fingers back there when you're creating pressure, but I'm going to look for it. And if that's spitting out a ton of pressure right there, or any of these injectors that are disconnected, then I would imagine it's getting fuel and the pump is working. So
The injection pump is getting fuel and that's working?
it should be. I might have to hook up the pink wire to make the fuel solenoid turn on as well. And I still need to check that and see if that is getting 12 volts. Wherever that went to. Right here. This one right here. So I'll get my voltmeter, stick that on, put the batteries back up, see if we got 12 volts with the key on. And then if I do, we'll plug it back in here. Put the fuel pump back up, crank on it, see if we got fuel spitting out. Pressurized fuel. Turn the key forward, and I'm going to see what we have for volts on the pink wire. Just turn it forward, but don't start it. Okay. I got 11.5 volts at the pink wire. Alright, rock the key back. Pink wire has what it needs. So, get this harness back over here. Hook these back up where they go. Should have fuel going to it now. And we'll be looking down in here. Okay, you crank, make sure you're neutral and all that. Okay. Try it again. All right, that's probably good. Do not see any leaks down at the mechanical fuel pump. Do not see any fuel coming out back here. I mean, nothing. So, fuel shut-off solenoid, top of the pump, could be stuck. But look what we got here. Starting to get some fuel through it. Not enough to pressurize out the back, but it's getting fuel now. Okay. See what happens when I unplug the pump, the fuel pump. Nothing. All right, I'm gonna try it again. Okay, so we got fuel in the system, no leaks. So it's either going to be a whole new pump or maybe fuel pump shut off solenoid that's underneath here. Alright, so as you can see, we got fuel out here, which should be the return. We have 12 volts at the pink wire, and we've got no fuel coming out down here. I mean, tiny little bit I've seen, but no pressure. So I'm hey Az, what are you doing? Wanna come up? So I'm gonna pull the top off the fuel pump next. May as well shut that electric pump off and see what it looks like in here, because these, as far as I know, if you lose your pink wire, it should shut down. But these solenoids can stick on or off, so I'm going to check the solenoid first.
I'll get this down.
Alright. But if it's not that, I'm going to pull the intake off, get a pump coming. Probably go with a reputable pump manufacturer. Already, I don't know, check Thoroughbred or somebody first. That's it for right now. I'm gonna start pulling stuff off of this. But our fuel situation's good.
Hi guys, I just wanted to hop on here and give you a little channel update. When we first got the Chevy truck, we weren't really sure what we wanted to do with it. And since then, we've now fallen in love with it the more we've gotten to work on it. We really love the 6.2 diesel engine. It's really on brand for us. We really love diesels. So now we really want to see this build through until the end. We want to take it to shows, hopefully, with the Highboy. So hopefully we can get it running. In this video, we didn't get to check the fuel shutoff valve on top of the injection pump, so that will be the first thing we do in the next video. We're taking this video series, as you can tell from this video, and we're turning it into more of a build series. They're going to be a little bit more long form, a little bit more technical, and a little bit more vlog style. We have some more exciting things going on for the future. As you can see, we've got this project still to do. We've got some collaboration videos in the works. We also have an idea to do lives. If you have any ideas or topics that you'd like us to cover in the lives, please comment down below on this video. Also have a Facebook page that we've been really active on, and we're always active on Instagram. So really appreciate all of your feedback on this build series and all of our other videos. And just like and subscribe, and we appreciate you. Have a blessed day.